Hello everybody. How are we all doing? Welcome to the stream. Oh, it's too early for this. It's far too early for this, but that's fine. That's good. It's normal. Flights are never at the time that you want them, are they? Welcome to the plane. This one is, I was going to give details and things, but I can't be bothered. Got to be honest with you. Setting off 12 minutes later than the initially expected time, but that's fine. Because it meant I had a little bit more time to just sort of like wake myself up vibe. Got a packet of prawn cocktail crisps. I might fancy those at some. What was that? Got some prawn cocktail crisps I might treat myself to, which should be quite nice. Am I allowed to bring a kettle on the plane for a brew? If you don't tell anyone, yes. You might get away with it that way. Morning all, looking forward to this. I never come, but I thought I'd break my dough. Ah, hello. It's always nice when people, I don't comment, but I did this time, and it's like, I feel like I've done something special and good. That makes this feel different, you know? So, as usual, we've got our standard view, the outsidey one, which is quite nice, and it involves me here, and it involves chat over there, and we've got a little, you can see my mouse, right? There we go. Got a little mini map in the corner. There we go. Which is mostly useless, and it's just like, where are we? I don't know, Switzerland. Which is fine. And we also have our interior view, where we don't have a map, but we've got each other, and that's what I think is beautiful about these streams. They're a little bit weird, and that makes them fun. 9:45 in Cyprus, so wide awake here. You see, I would be, but I always tend to be like up until beyond 1 in the morning getting the video done for the morning, which means that it's not quite. It doesn't mesh with being awake like before 8 AM. But that's fine. That'll be right. How's everyone? Yeah, that's the question. How is everyone? If you're doing alright, let us know in the chat. If you're not doing so alright, also let us know in the chat, and we'll just talk things over. No co-pilot today. There is currently no co-pilot today. Although this is a shout out to anyone that may be a YouTuber or content creator or all that kind of stuff. If you fancy co-piloting today, just let me know. I'll work out how we can do it. It's not the easiest, but that's fun. We'll be right. Yeah, it was more of a, I discovered about the plane at like 9 or 10 PM last night, and I was like, oh, I've got to do the stream, but I've not had time to tell anyone that I'm doing the stream, because because it's a stupid time of day. So Good morning, Joe. Early flight this AM. I got stuck in security just on. That's good, because evidently you were the one that was slowing us down. Because it's taken absolutely forever to get taxied down the runway. But we'll get there. It'll be fine. It looks like we're moving wrong, and I can't explain it, but it just kind of does. That plane's so much bigger than we are. It's unacceptable. We are about to get going. Ready for takeoff, everyone. I hope no one gets airsick, I guess. Give it 10 minutes in the bog. I've just had a big pony. Lovely. What a start. Well, currently we've got 84 of you on the plane. So if anyone does need the loo, now might be the time. How long's this flight? Surely you can't get off. The flight is an hour 55? An hour 52, in theory, which now takes us beyond, like, 9:30. Unless we are, like, quick. I like that you're challenging yourself by flying the plane facing backwards. It's always good to push it off. It is. That's the fun part of the job, you know? Like, oh, I'm doing a flight. You know how I'm doing the flight? I'm doing the flight in the wrong direction. Which no one typically sees coming. Which is quite good. I hope I'm wrong and he does well, but I can't look past the fact that the only place he's played well regularly was the Austrian League 4 years ago and has injury problems. Counterpoint, he was someone that, sure, he may have had the odd issue, but him not getting into the first 11 at AC Milan isn't some big bad thing for him. It's a sign that AC Milan has a very, very good squad. That is not easy to get into. It's not a sign that he's done anything wrong or anything. Can everyone smash like? Yes, can everyone please do so? Because that is always beneficial on these streams, because they are very, very long streams. But they are long streams that become more nice when there's more people in and there's more people having a chat and we're having a little bit of a natter. And that happens by people doing liking and doing subscribing, and basically YouTube thinks, oh, people want to watch this, nice. So it suggests it to more people, and then more people get in here, and it's always quite good. Estimated time of arrival at Leeds Bradford is currently... Oh, thank you for subscribing, E. Anderson. I appreciate that. Elliot Anderson has decided to stab his current club in the back and come to Leeds instead. He's waiting for us to go and pick him up in the plane. Estimated time of arrival is now earlier than the scheduled time of arrival, which is a bit weird if you consider the fact that we set off very, very, very late. Has Joe been sacked as co-pilot? Joe hasn't been sacked. Joe is presumably doing his daily video today. Well, not just today, because it's a daily video. He does that every day. Joe is presumably doing his video as we speak, because I know that he does it throughout the morning. But the invite is open if there is anyone content creating in the chat that I know that I get along with, and like having a nice little chat with from time to time. It's all good, and I'll work out the technical side of getting all that done, which is quite good. I'll have a 5 to 10 minute walk from Leeds Bradford where I live, so shall I go and give him a warm welcome with a cup of Yorkshire tea? Absolutely, you should. Oh, thank you for becoming a member, SpongeBob Dave. I appreciate that. It's $2.99 a month. You get a bunch of videos and stuff early. I've got to do the plug now because you got me going. You get a bunch of videos and stuff early, and the estimated time of arrival's gone back to when it was scheduled. That's so annoying. Yeah, it's just quite nice, and it means I'm more viably able to do longer streams like this without having to keep an eye on Microsoft Teams and go, I need to do actual work stuff now because that's what pays the bills. Like, when stuff like channel memberships exist, it becomes a little bit easier to do that. Brushing your teeth in the airplane bathroom is a recipe for a bruised elbow. Counterpoint. What if you've got an electric toothbrush? So in that case, you just whack it and you got to move it from bit to bit. You still got to do a little bit of brushing, but it's not quite the whole. So you're not like whacking your elbow so much. Which feels like a better approach, I think, to brushing your teeth in an airplane bathroom. It's a little bit more sensible, a little bit more like well held together, you know? Stops things going wrong. I have to admit, the only evidence we have is 4 years ago in Austria. Calvin Phillips was one of the best players in Europe 4 years ago before all the injuries. Yeah, that's fair, but like, the difference is, at least in the time since, Okafor has shown a lot of promise when he's been fit. So it's more a question of keeping him around and healthy and good than it is a question of, like, does he have the ability? Because he's got the ability. It's just about staying fit to use it, is, I think, the issue. Use the free ones I leave at home. Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. Then again, I've not really done flying much. So I can't really say, like, yeah, when I'm on a plane I use this method of brushing my teeth. Well, I've not been on a plane in, like, 15 years, maybe? Something like that. So, I mean, I'm no use in this bit of conversation. Some would say that about most conversations, but that's fine. 20th wedding anniversary today, rather celebrate Okafor signing. Oh! Or maybe you want to marry Noah Okafor. Maybe that's what's going on here. Hopefully with Parag's words we'll be seeing a few of these over the next couple of weeks. Ideally with kinder timings. If they're at a better time, then it's significantly more likely that I will do more of these. Whereas right now, I'm going to go from this. Then an hour after this is scheduled to land. I've got a meeting. And then I've got to put down the new kitchen floor. Which is fun. And should take a significant proportion of the day. So I'm looking forward to that. How do people do DIY? And I'm like, yeah, this is fun, actually. I love doing DIY. No. No. DIY is not fun. DIY is stressful because it's like, oh man, all this stuff's really expensive. And if I make a mistake, I've got to rebuy the stuff. Fuck that. No. Horrible idea. Hopefully with Parag's words, yeah, I've read that one. Will Okafor and DCL be ready for the weekend? I don't know. Okafor, I think, gets on the bench, assuming that all of the medical and everything is fine. Because it would be a case of he arrives today, does a medical today, maybe announced tonight or tomorrow. Calvert-Lewin, I think, is a case of he's not strictly injured, but it would be good to have a better idea of, like, the tactical shape and structure and all that kind of stuff, and I think that's kind of what counts most. So I think there's a chance that we see him on the bench this weekend. I think Newcastle is maybe a little bit more likely. Took my 18-month-old on a total flight time of 22 hours to Australia in 2023 that was almost as challenging as flying a plane backwards or any DIY. That sounds like a nightmare. I wouldn't have done that, but that's fine. Hope he doesn't pull a muscle cramped up on the old banger of a plane. Look at the plane. That's not an old banger. That looks like a very expensive banger. I'm not going to call that an old banger. I think that's fine. You're on early, do you know which flight is on? Yes, it's the one that is coming in from Zurich and is estimated to arrive at 9:22 in the morning. If there is anyone that happens to live under the flight path, as usual, it'd be nice if you could be like, oh, look at that plane, and take a picture of the plane. Just because I think that really adds a little bit of sort of reality to the situation. It sort of brings it, like, home, in a way. For him to play Saturday, he needs to be done by 12 on Thursday. I think he will be. What day is it today? It's Wednesday. Yeah, I'll be done by then. If the only thing that needs sorting is the medical now, then I think it'll be paperwork will be done tonight or tomorrow, and then work from there. Do you have a car simulator from the car to Welland Road? I've got iRacing. What's the distance? Right, distance from Leeds. No, I'll go Google Maps. Leeds, Bradford, Airport to Welland. It's about 10 miles. So if you really want, I could boot up iRacing and do a single lap of the Nordschleife. But I'm not super feeling that, I've got to be honest with you. DCL and Okafor get their first minutes against Sheffield Wednesday, I think. That might be a shout, yeah. Is that in the week after the Arsenal match? Like next Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that? That makes sense. Then we get Okafor today and another before the game on Saturday. I don't know about another before the game. Maybe that backup fullback happens. It could be James Justin, it could be someone else. But there's a pretty damn good chance that we get something done by that time. If he comes over Wakefield, I'll try and get a photo. Thank you very much, Rich. You see, I would try myself, but it's like, he's not going to come over Blackpool. So, sod it. Also, it's very cloudy. It's miserable. Also going to look out the window to see if Kayla's there, because currently she is taking the dog for a walk. Just finished night shift now, sorting a solicitor to help sell the house and divorce because wife has decided she's a lesbian. But hey, Leeds won first Premier League game and we're getting Okafor, so what time to be alive. Been together 25 seasons too. Ooh. Okay. I don't know how to respond on that one. I'm very sorry to hear that, I think. Unless you're between you agreeing that it's the right move. I don't know. I hope you're doing okay. Anyone else think Muniz might pop up again once more? I don't know. Because I've been kind of bamboozled by that one. Anyone else nervous that the pilot's not looking where he's going? I'm never looking where... That's the... Right, okay, what's really going to blow your mind, right, is I've not got a monitor here and here, and I've not got a camera here, and I've not got a light thing here. Instead, what I've got is I've got a big mirror. So, I am in fact flying in the right direction because I'm using a mirror to work out what's where, and it all kind of works out in the end. The thumbnail's truly honking, I like it. Yeah, it's one that I initially did for the first one of these that I did this summer. And I was like, this is such a wacky design, I love it. And I just decided to keep it. And occasionally I'll chuck on like the player in question. Last time I had Jur on it. And it's quite nice. It's a nice weird sort of look that shows that these aren't the most serious streams. Like, I've had people come in and be like, why aren't you talking about Leeds news? And it's like, well, because the Leeds news has led to this. This is like the series finale of Noah Okafor, I suppose. Where we're all sort of taking a look at like, ooh, where's the plane going? What a time. I'm in Morley, so I might just be able to get a pic. Oh, it's been so long since I've been properly in Morley. The estimated time of arrival of that plane is going backwards. It's 9:33 in the morning now. Okay. You know when you're like... A bit of me kind of fancies a Mackey's breakfast. But at the same time, I don't fancy eating a Mackey's breakfast on stream. But I can't have a Mackey's breakfast after the stream, because if I do that, then Kayla will have already headed out for work, And if I have a Mackey's breakfast without Kayla, I get killed. Because that's how life works when you have a pregnant wife. So that would feel like a bad idea. It's a tempting idea, but it's probably a bad idea. A lot of chat about the size of the squad needing to lose a couple of Ramazanis, one Meslier, Schmidt, who else? Schmidt gone, Meslier gone. I don't really believe the idea that Ramazani's potentially on the way out, but it's a maybe. You see the private flight from Birmingham, Buendia Surprise. It can just be a private flight. Like, this one I'm keeping an eye on because I've heard from a couple of different people, like completely separate to one another, that he was arriving at 9:22. That has changed because the time of the plane went weird, so now it's... Oh, it's 9:32, as you can see there. But it's still the right plane. Whereas a lot of them tend to just be like, a rich bloke wanted to fly to Leeds for the day. Why is Yorkshire not Milan? I don't know. Genuinely, I've not got the foggiest. I wish I could tell you. I was just told by multiple people that he arrives at 9:22. Or at least he did arrive at 9:22 before the delays. And that's all I can offer you in terms of an understanding of why Zurich. So, saw you on there as the relief pilot. No, there is a cat. I can do a cat. But she wouldn't really stick around in the chair for too long. She would rock up, go, there's no food here, and just leave. Hashtag Team Iris in the chat for everyone that is Team Iris. When Okafor comes in and assuming one of the existing wingers, most likely Ramazani, moves out, do we look at another striker, winger, or cam? Hold on. I did a whiteboard of this yesterday, so I can double check it and see what that squad list is looking like. So, right. Once we've registered Okafor, we've got one more spot for a squad registration. My assumption is that goes to the backup fullback signing. Beyond that, we'd need to not register people or have people depart or something like that. Specifically, the player that I had on the list of someone that might not get registered for the Premier League is Alex Cairns. Because Cairns, I don't think is realistically going to be needed in the Premier League this season. And if it comes to it, we've got Rory Mahady at the back of the line to do goalkeeping and stuff. We can only have 2 more players. Yes, in theory. We'd need departures to go beyond the 2. Because we're currently at 23. I think. Like, I might be wrong. I might have, like, accidentally put someone on the list of registered players that doesn't need to be on it. But as far as I'm aware, we've got 3 left. Well, not 3 left, 2 left. 1 after Noah Okafor. So, probably a departure if we're going any more moves than that. But, I don't know. Ryan sick at work, here for the duration now. Oh, that's... Why? Are you actually sick? Or are you just, like, this is a really fun flight, let's stick on the flight? Because that'd be quite nice.
Still missing the pilot's cap, Joe. Smiley face emoji.
Thank you. Oh, we had a name for the Welsh voice, didn't we? What's the most Welsh name you can think of? We'll go with Bryn. It's Bryn. Thank you, Bryn. And thank you, Paul, for the super chat. I am still missing the pilot's cap. Because I thought a couple of weeks back that I wasn't going to do any more of these. And then I found out about the flight, and I was like, oh, I kind of have to. So, also, because I've been... Brian Jones. Brian Jones is perfect. That'll do. David also works. We'll go with 3 names. It's Brian David Jones. Is what we'll go with. The Uche thing hasn't gone away. I've not really seen much from the Uche stuff for quite some time. Are we still have to Justin? What's the news of his injury? I think we're waiting on news on the injury. Because I think to not get proper clearance about the fact that he's not fully injured would be a bit daft. But I don't know whether or not that, like... I don't know whether it'll be too off-putting for us, or if we'll go in a completely different direction as a result. Also, the PFA Championship Team of the Year from last year's come out, which is a significantly better Team of the Year than the actual EFL Team of the Year, because this one hasn't tried to squeeze in players that do not belong in a Team of the Year. Leeds United have 5 players on the list, which just makes sense to me. Bogle and Firpo are that team's fullbacks. We've got Tanaka in there. Piru is the striker. Dan James on the right wing. The players that aren't from Leeds, James Trafford got in because obviously he did. Egan Riley and Esteve from Burnley also got in. Like, fair enough, I get it. Brownhill from Burnley, fair enough, he's in there too. Gus Hamer, also on the list. I think I've not seen if he got the PFA Team of the Season. But if he did, that's a bit of a joke, because I don't think he was that good. And, well, I think he was good, but I don't think he was the best player in the league good. And then Boye Sainz fills it out on the left flank. A bit off topic, but Hamer or Buendia if you had to pick one. Buendia, I think. Because Hamer has done well at a championship level, but he also tends to do the thing that really annoys me, where in the 70th minute he'll just have a sit down and be like, oh, my hamstring. It's like, I get it, you've got a little bit of an injury niggle, but the fact that every single time I've watched a game with him in it, he's done that is a bit, bit not good. That includes Sam Chambers, Alex Kynes and Melier. The list that I was discussing there doesn't. So I very deliberately left Melier, Greenwood, Bamford, JB and Schmidt off my squad registration list. I figured because Schmidt wasn't even on the bench on Monday, we won't have had to have registered him yet, which is clever because it makes sure that we've got a little bit more space going on. Cairns is currently probably on the registered list, but I don't know whether or not he stays. And Chambers won't need to be a registered player because he's currently under the age of 21 and has spent 2 or more seasons at the club. So doesn't need to be a registered senior player. We all know Joseph was the star if only he'd been given the chance. He was given the chance. He was the starting striker for Leeds United for several games last season. And he managed to prove to us and himself that he wasn't good enough to keep that spot in the side. Which is a bit of a shame, because I wanted him to do well. But, well. I was kidding. I know, but you can never be too careful. So I thought I'd just sort of like, I thought I'd clear it up. Clear up my take on it. And then that works everything out. Do I think Muniz stays at Fulham? At this point, I think probably. Because I think Atalanta put in a pretty chunky bid. And he didn't move. And Atalanta was the side that he kind of wanted. So I think him scoring for Fulham, I think he scored for Fulham at least, makes it kind of hard to shift him at this point. Oh no. God damn it. My post-match stream yesterday got shot down by copyright, which is a nightmare. That's fine. Right, that'll fix it. Good morning, Asker. Hope you're well. And thank you for subscribing, Matty Taylor Gaming. You see, because it's Taylor Gaming in one thing, you gotta go, Matty, Taylor Gaming. And that works. I have a bad feeling Groove might go, but honestly he's damn good out and out. Yeah, I think he's good enough to stay. And a lot of the time you'll see people sort of thinking, well, if we've got to lose any of the midfielders, it's got to be Gruev. And it's like, I mean, kinda. Because you've got a fair point. Ampadu doesn't leave because he's the captain. Tanaka is a ridiculous player. I've had multiple people just look like... I went to Spoons last night because it was a friend's birthday. And one of my mates, completely unprompted, was like, how have you got a midfield that's that good? And I was kind of like, we just do. We bought a really good player for £3 million last year. We got Ethan Ampadu the year before for about 8, and we got Isaac Schmidt for 18. And he was like, not Schmidt, sorry, Anton Stack. And he was like, Anton Stack was only £18 million. I was like, yeah, it's great. It's lovely. This is what happens when you have, like, a talent hunting team that know how to do their job. It's lovely. Morning, Joe. Where's Noah flying in from? He's flying in from Zurich, which is alright, isn't it? It's not a bad place to spend your time if you can. The flight went from Rome to Zurich beforehand, so I don't know if he was on that segment of it, but it would be weird to do Rome, Zurich, and then Zurich onwards, unless they were like picking up an agent or something. That might have been it, because he's Swiss. So maybe it was a case of picking up a family member and then going on from there. Something like that. I don't know. I'll be honest. A lot of the time I'm just like, I don't fucking know. But I'm not going to admit that I don't know, because people will be like, Joe, you know these things. I don't know. I'm very bold to assume that I know what's going on. We'll have to sell Tanaka at some point, he's just too good. No, let's not get in that mindset yet. Because as soon as we're in that mindset, it's really hard to get out of the mindset of all of our talented players are going to leave us. I don't like it. I don't enjoy that. Can't see Grove going. I think Ramazani's most likely. Strouk's a shout if Ampadu's going to be backup centre back in an emergency, but I think that's also unlikely. Yeah, Strouk, I think, showed a lot of people on Monday that he's got a lot of talent to him. On what Matty Taylor Gaming, because I'm going to say it like that every single time. What Matty Taylor Gaming said about Strouk: if we got a 15 million bought in Tanganga from Millwall for 1.3, not for me. Strouk is worth more than 15 million pounds as a centre back. He just is. And on the Tanganga thing, I think there is a reason that Tanganga hasn't moved yet, and I think it's because he isn't necessarily of the level. Because that release clause is open to everyone in the Premier League. Where have these hiccups come from? Shit. Sorry guys, your pilot is having like respiratory issues. But Tanganga, I think there is a reason that no one in the league has picked him up yet, and it's because he's not of Premier League level. Which is, I mean, fine. Like, that's going to happen sometimes. And I think there very clearly was a player with a lot of potential there, but I don't know. I don't think we gain anything by selling Pascal Strouk and getting in Japhet Tanganga. I don't think that's a win for us. Right, Ian Rogers. I can't see Grove going. I think Ramazani's most likely. Strouk's a shout if Ampadu is going to be a backup centre-back in an emergency, but I think that's also unlikely. Yeah, we've got 4 centre-backs right now, which is sort of what we need. Whereabouts are we right now? We are currently over France. We are flying over various national parks in the east. If it helps anyone, geographically, why is there not a scale on that map? Good. Right, I'm going to open Google Maps on the other monitor, just so I can sort of measure things. Right, so we are... a measure distance from there to there. Right, if it helps anyone, we're about 70 miles west of the Maginot Line. That's a very specific World War II reference, but it should give you an idea of roughly where we are. We're east of Paris. Oui, we are east of Gay Paris. It is not a bad place to be. But we are mostly flying over a lot of different fields and things like that. As long as we fly over France, this is the question, actually. I will do it in a poll. Do we keep up the French accent for all the time we are over France? Oui. Absolument non. I do not know. It is up to you guys. We can do the French accent if we want, but it is up to you. I suppose. Okay, that's a pretty. Okay, guys, that's you don't have to be so. Oh no, 75%, absolutely not. That is devastating, and I'm about to do it out of spite. I'm not gonna do it out of spite. It's fine. Absolutely not. Very annoying. All right, ouch. Shit, man. Turn the recirculated air on, please, Joe. Someone's farted in the cabin. Sorry, that was me. I wish it was a fart. If Justin or another fullback comes in for after Okafor, we're calling it complete squad. I think if we do the fullback, then anything after that would be a case of an opportunistic move. A case of someone's come on the market and we've just like jumped for him, just to get that job done. Yeah, but I wouldn't want to see us using Stroke left back ever again. I don't think we would use Stroke at left back ever again, to be honest with you. I think we're beyond the Marsh times, which is not a bad place to be. After all, he can go, he can't go, exceptionally well for Rama, who couldn't get into a Champo side. I think Ramazani has a very high ceiling, and I think to assume that, like, because he didn't play last season, he won't be a good player, would be a mistake. Oh, Jesus. Okay, I genuinely dropped 20 viewers during the French accent segment. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to. If you haven't, by the way, I'd massively appreciate you popping a like on the stream. It helps things keep chugging along. I've just noticed we've got a lot more people in right now, and it'd be good to have folks along. We need an attacking option to replace Ramazani since he's very much out of favour. I think that could be reasonably what Okafor is. Rather watch Allo Allo, you sound like the Allo Allo police officer. I was aiming for Chef from Ratatouille, more than anything else. But, like, right, when it comes to French, I can genuinely speak a little bit of French. It's not all, like, it's not all leaning in, like, that hard to the Frenchness. But it's just, like when you're doing a French accent, it's less fun to do it seriously. Because I can, like, reasonably get by in French. Jody sees having outgoings for sure if there are new incomings. If there's more than one other new incoming, then yes. But if we don't need to, I don't see us, like, doing outgoings for the sake of what if we need space in the squad just in case. Because there's always an opportunity to sort of, like, chip away at one of the players that isn't realistically going to get minutes. So, looking at the squad. So, from the squad list, players that I think we could feasibly chalk off and say we don't necessarily need you in the 25-man squad. Cairns would open up a second slot, so it could be fullback and someone else. And then maybe you end up saying you find a move for Jack Harrison or Ramazani on loan. I wouldn't want to sell Ramazani, like, permanently, but I don't know. There was a period, albeit short, where Ramazani was amazing. Ramazani provides good vibe. Watch his bike ride on LUTV. It was fun. Yeah, I think with Ramazani you get a little bit more than just the player. You get the vibe. And I know that the vibe isn't like something you theoretically like grab onto, but I don't know. And on the whole like Ramazani didn't make it into a championship side thing, you got to remember on the same side as him, because Ramazani is primarily a left winger, was Manus Solomon. And if I'm having a look at Manus Solomon's back end of last season, so right, from the 8th of April onwards, Manus Solomon's performances for Leeds were assist, goal and assist, goal, 2 assists, assist, goal, assist. He got 9 goal involvements in 8 games of football. No chance in hell was largely shifting him out of that place. And he had the same sort of run in January as well. So 4th of January, assist. Then against Harrogate in the FA Cup, assist. Against Sheffield Wednesday, goal. Norwich, goal and assist. Burnley, nothing, but then again, we were against Burnley. 7-0 win against Cardiff, he got a goal. Against Coventry, got an assist. Didn't do anything against Millwall in the FA Cup, but it was only on for 21 minutes. And then against Watford, goal and assist. Like, it's not that bad of a thing for Largy to not get that much in terms of minutes, because Largy being injured is a pretty significant issue that knocked him out of the side, and then he was trying to force his way back in through the form player of the Championship last season. Like, I think if Solomon were able to play more earlier in the season, then he also finds his way into that team this season. Because I think he outscores Boye Sainz. I think he potentially outscores... Oh, what's the fucking... Brownhill as another one. Potentially outscores Piru as well. It's hard to say. John Book, I do not German very well, but I will do my best to get that translated by Google. Translate selection. Why isn't that translating? Go to Google Translate. Give me your words. Es tut mir wirklich leid. Deine Französisch ist schlecht. How dare you? Je parle très bien français. Mais je ne parle très bien français quand l'accent c'est... What's the word? Très funny. I forgot the word for funny. Amuse, maybe? Très amuse? Ah, je n'aime pas. No, je n'ai pas. Mon français... comme c'est comme ça. Anyway, back to the chat. Harrison's staying, Farker wants him here. Farker maybe wants him here. I think it's more a case of... if it doesn't look feasible that Jack Harrison's getting a move away, then it's incredibly difficult to say... No, yeah, we just don't want the guy. The issue is no one's interested in him. Like, that's not something that you want to say to the press. So it's more a case of, right, if we can't move Jack Harrison on, you've got to lean into keeping him around. Because you don't really gain anything by forcing a gap between player and club. Like with the Isaac situation. Like, the fact that there's such a gap between the two stances on that one. Drôle. Yeah, it's drôle. Très drôle. Excusez-moi. Je suis très désolé pour mon très mal français. Last season, everyone was like, Solomon's a championship player, I can't believe we got him. We get to the Premier League, everyone's like, nah, he's Champo. Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't mind him. To be completely honest with you, I know there's quite a lot to him. Currently, by the way, we are between Paris and Rennes, which, if we cut to this view, I'm going to try and get Gay Paris in the view. So for that, look, you see this little grey band here? That's Paris. And then Rennes is down here somewhere. There we go. This one. I was chatting to someone the other day who was like, yeah, I speak French. Ah! No, wait, there we go. I fixed it. Like, yeah, I speak French. Like, I talk about that city like Reims, and it's like, it's not called Reims. Let's not just make up names for things. Right, by the way, the United Kingdom is this stretch here, I think. Is it? Or is it? Yeah, that's the UK. I was just trying to make sure it wasn't a Jersey or a Guernsey or something. The two that aren't real. I always find it weird, right, that in World War II, like, Jersey was, like, occupied. And it's, like, how does that happen? At what point is, like, high command, like, you know where we need to take Jersey? I was like, I get it. It's a decent, like, tactical place to sit in the channel. But also, like, probably in weapons range there? Which makes it feel like a bit of a weird spot to go. In fact, right, I've gotten rid of my Google Maps by accident. Don't forget Alderney. I always forget Alderney. It's hard to remember Alderney, let's be honest. I think Jackie could go to MLS. He has history there. He does. The complication is it's in the middle of the MLS season, which makes things a bit complex because a lot of squads like to think that they've got their teams done now. So I think that might be a winter transfer job. Hard to say though. Like it's a move that I think would benefit from happening. Just whether it does or not, we'll have to see. I think Jack will perform this season. He has a lot of ground to cover with us Leeds fans, and to show Everton fans he's better than he showed them. He's got a lot to prove. He does, and I think he will do. And also, like, he's sort of playing for his career right now. Because if it doesn't work out for him now, no one's going to want to sign him in either January or next summer. And at that point, it's tough. Oh yeah, Guernsey and Jersey are more French than here. Why did I... For some reason, in my brain, I was like, right, Jersey is roughly where the Isle of Wight is, but it's halfway between UK and France. It's not even a little bit. But for some reason my head was like, yeah, that's where Jersey is. Absolutely not. I just screwed that one up. Do we think we get any players on loan this year? Possibly the fullback backup? Maybe. I've heard whispers of a player that we are potentially looking at permanently signing, but I don't really want to dive into that on a very, very long stream. Because then what I accidentally do is I bury a bunch of news in a stream that about 200 people have seen. And with it being buried so deep into a stream, you guys know what the news is, so if I do a video on it later on, you guys don't watch that video because you're like, oh cool, I know what the thing is. So it makes it feel a little bit pointless. Can Okafor play in the 10? Probably. He can definitely play on the left wing, he can definitely play in the 9. He's played a little bit on the right, but it's a case of I don't know about the 10. So it's kind of hard to say. The trouble with Jackie is that other than his first touch, isn't that good at anything. He just works hard with Aaron, something like that. I think that's harsh. I think there's nothing that he's exceptional at, but there's a few things that he's quite good at. So, like, we can't forget, he's one of not very many players to score a hat-trick for Leeds in the Premier League. And, yeah, I would argue he's not worth the 90 grand a week, but I think he gets a little bit much stick for what he does. 6 wingers but no adequate fullback cover or creativity. I think we've got creative... Like, I don't think creativity is the issue. I think consistent creativity can be an issue. We don't know yet, because the one team we faced is Everton, and Everton didn't look particularly good. And the question is, did we make them look bad? Or were they bad? For me, I think we were perfectly creative. I think we didn't finish the chances. Like, we had 21 shots. That's nothing to be sniffed at. That's pretty good. And I'm not going sniffing. Hang on, I'm gonna just bring that horizon down a touch so you guys can see the coast. Joe, what's the ETA, Captain? That's a question. Let's have a look. The ETA is currently 9:24, so we're about 53 minutes out. Gotta watch the yeah. I like doing like zen and chill streams. They're always quite nice. I've got you in my right ear while I'm in the office, loving the broadcast. Thank you. I quite like the sort of longer, talky ones. It's like a radio talk show, which it's quite nice and chill. It's always good to talk about things, you know. Yes, Joe, you say Bury like me. Most people say Berry. It varies a bit. I think. Right, I'm going to go through the fun trauma thing again, because I've talked about this before on streams, but I always find it good so people are sort of aware. The reason that I've got what is a fairly neutral accent, that is like a blank canvassy accent that I find it relatively easy to put various accents onto, is because when I was younger, I was very bullied. So when I went to uni, I was like, cool, I don't want anything to be particularly bullied about. So I kind of subconsciously lost the Yorkshire accent, which is a bit of a shame. Like, if it comes to it, I can talk a bit more Yorkshire, just sort of like lean into it. But it's not naturally there anymore, which is, it sucks, but it's part of like my past and who I am now and all that kind of thing. So it's fine enough. Right, where are we? Nanto's really hungry. I think he wants to prove himself at the top. He does, yeah. I think his decision making wasn't fantastic, which is something that will probably need to be worked on going forwards. But in the immediate term, I think he's someone that has a very, very high ceiling. It's just getting him to that ceiling that's the issue. Harrison is already a Leeds player, so at least he won't cost us anything, and I thought he tried hard against Everton. He did. He genuinely looked like he wanted to prove a lot of people wrong, and for me, what matters is that he's putting the time and effort into proving people wrong. That's what counts. Also, Kilgallen, you say we'll watch it, the numbers say differently every time that I do that. I will do the name in this stream, but I won't do the details, if that's fair enough. Name being Facundo Buonanotte, and what I've heard from a couple of folks is we're looking at doing him permanently rather than on loan, which is interesting. Helgoland is the only territory we lost to Germany in World War II. Is it? Small archipelago in the North Sea, historically possessions of Denmark. Heligoland. Since 1890. They were part of Schleswig-Holstein. Although after World War II, they, along with the rest of Schleswig-Holstein, were managed by the United Kingdom as part of the British occupation zone in Germany. They didn't nab them in the Second World War. Well, it's in the Second World War. It's an archipelago though, so it's more than them. I don't know. I think the team as a whole were almost too desperate to win. Farke had a word with Tanaka at the end, sort of like a take it easy. Yeah, that's fine though, I think. Like, to be in a spot where we have to tell one of our players, it's okay, we don't need to overexert and overpush things. It's a good spot to be in. A permanent Buonanotte would be £40 million, wouldn't it? It'd be expensive, yeah. But I think it'd be a worthwhile cost. And I think as people are sort of demanding that, like, big marquee signing, it's not one to, like, shrug at. I've just flown over Amiens, by the way, just to keep everyone up to date on where we're at. Who drops out for Biol, Okafor and DCL to come into the matchday squad? So, for Biol, I would say the one to drop would be maybe Byram at the moment. No, wait, hold on. Yeah, maybe Byram. For Noah Okafor, it's a hell of a question. Because it's a really strong bench. It'd be one of your wing options. Don't know which. And for DCL, I don't know. It's quite hard to say. I really like that we're in a pretty solid spot where we can just, like, pick whatever 9 players we want for the bench, and it's a strong looking bench. Even if we had, like, a Harry Gray in there, like, no one's going to be too mad. There is no version of that squad where I look at it and I'm like, that's not good enough. Like, I think Biol pushes his way into the first 11 at some point. Not immediately, but I think he pushes his way in, maybe displacing Strauch, who drops to the bench, and maybe replaces Bornau. But Bornau is also a fullback option. If we get a fullback option in, then they replace Byram, potentially. And of that, I've got Biol in. Okafor maybe for Aronson. And then DCL's got to come in somewhere. And we don't have a place for DCL to come in, because the player that DCL will be replacing is Mecha, and Mecha came on and looked ridiculous. So, unless you're going to do my favourite football manager thing, of just don't play a goalkeeper on the bench, I don't know. Kind of hard to say. And then you've got your backup fullback to think about, who has to go somewhere. A couple of Everton's channels said we won't play like that every week. They have a lot to learn about Leeds. Only watch that. It's such a weird, smug Premier League mentality to say that Leeds won't play like that every week, when it's like, well, no, because we played the pressing game a lot of the time. It's what we do at the moment. And to assume that we won't bother with it is nuts. Like, it worked against you, why wouldn't we try it against other teams? I don't think we do it against Arsenal, for example, but I think we still do it. Alright, I'll switch that up, actually. We is closing in on absolutely not on the poll, but I'm going to end the poll there. Just before we run the risk of having to speak French for the rest of France, which there's not much of it. We're approaching Calais, which is below and to the right. Hello all for about 5 minutes. Hello, Hannah Bone. How do we do? How's the train? Hoping good. Not wrong with Yorkshire accent, proud of my accent, use the old thee, thou words. See, I agree, but younger me doesn't. And younger me is the one that, like, subconsciously burned the accent. Which sucks, but that's where we're at. Can you see Byram dropping out the 25 to a coaching role if we get a fullback in? No, because we need the backup. That's the main reason. We need the depth. Are we still needing a winger and a right back? I think this is the winger. I think Noah Okafor's the winger signing that we need to sort out. In terms of fullback, I think we're sorted if we sort Justin. And then it'll be a case of, if anyone is of interest, like the Buonanotte thing, then we make that move. Get on with lazy pundits who just prefer the 3 promoted to just down automatically. I bet none of them watch the Champion years. Yeah, that's my take on it. Like, I feel like for Gary Neville to be like, there's just too much of a gap between the Premier League and the Championship. Bollocks. There's not. The gap exists between badly managed Championship sides and Premier League sides. So Leicester came up, and they had to immediately sell Dewsbury Hall and Maresca. Because they effectively sold Maresca. He wasn't, like, just poached. Like, there was a fee going on. Ipswich came up with, functionally, a League One squad. Which isn't good enough. And Southampton came up and didn't adapt tactically, which we've already shown that we do. So, it's fine. Oh dear. Train was uneventful, just about to go into the office. Just go for, like, the singular headphone move. That's the way you do it. Go for the singular headphone and be like, I'm on a work call, whenever people ask. Most Premier League fans have totally underestimated Leeds and Sunderland total lack of awareness and disrespect. I still don't know if Sunderland stay up. I would like them to. I don't know if they can. Just realised I'm about 5 minutes behind hitting live now. Ah, there we go, David Dent. That's a superhero name if I've ever heard one. David Dent. That's a banger. Moved around a lot, and a few times wound up getting bullied. I think my American accent is pretty natural because of that. Neutral, sorry. Shame because I lost my original Hawaiian. You see, fun like regional accents going away is a shame. Have you done your guest spot on Matty's second channel? Right, so what was meant to happen was we were meant to do it last week. We ended up both being busy on that night, so it didn't work out. Then last night was the other plan, but Matty wasn't available for the time that we'd agreed, so it's going to be a doing it next week job, I think. Neville changed his mind from Leeds staying up to Leeds going down post-game on Monday. That's the thing, like, we look really good, and it's like, sometimes do you just make things up because you're like, you know what, this is going to do numbers. And that's stupid, Gary Neville. Stupid. I thought Justin was off. Justin is unknown at the moment. It'll depend on his injury state. Currently, if we look directly down, by the way, we are just going over the French coast. Specifically, the port of Boulogne-sur-Mer, with Vimerais being a little bit further down the coast. Which is lovely jubbly. Just ready arrived at Thorpe Arch 40 minutes ago. I have seen nothing on that. As far as I was aware, he was on a flight that was arriving at 9:22. That flight got a little bit delayed, so is currently this one. It'll be arriving at 9:25, as far as we can tell. But I don't think he's there already. That'll be pushing it. Anyone else find themselves having Sadiq and Diarra terrible because we didn't get them? No, to be honest, this happens all the time. Like, you're going to miss out on some players. And that's normal. That's fine. I need the toilet. No, it's fine. I'll keep going. But I'm not going to hope that they're terrible just because we didn't get them. Only time accent was disrespect was when I lived in Newcastle. Some old guy was horrible. He must have had his favourite toy taken off him as a child by a Yorkshire kid. A him problem. Yeah, I mean, if that's... You may be able to hear the dog, because I think Kayla's dad is currently around to do flooring things, and I'll be helping out once I've finished the stream. What was your unbiased opinion on the pen decision on VAR the other day? My unbiased opinion, and this is a genuine unbiased opinion that I've, like, had to have conversations with non-Leeds fans about, because I was like, I don't know what I actually think if I'm not being a Leeds fan, is that basically the opinion that I thought I had that was based on bias isn't. That whilst his arm is tucked, he's still thrown his body into the way, and whilst it's not, like, deliberately hit specifically his arm, he's actively gone to block a shot, and it has hit his arm in the process, therefore it is handball. You've deliberately blocked a shot, and you've blocked it with your arm. So... handball, for me. It's like when you do a slide tackle, and you go in a little bit late, and you've still, like, caught him, like, it doesn't stop it being a foul. It doesn't particularly matter that you've not, like, fouled them on purpose. You've still fouled them. So that's where I sit on it. I sit on it is a penalty. And to say that it's not feels odd. But I think people are just mad at VAR as a concept. Helping with the flooring. He's significantly more competent than me, though. And then tomorrow, we've got a kitchen being delivered, which is going to be quite nice. My opinion is it swings and roundabouts. Robin Koch versus Liverpool. Anyone? I don't quite remember that one. I've got to be honest with you. I remember one of them that annoyed me was the goal that was disallowed for Patrick Bamford because he was pointing to where he wanted to pass, and it's like, well, he can't receive the ball with his elbow. That's the rule. So why is this a handball? It's stupid. You reckon we go for Soloff? I don't, mainly because I think he's significantly better than coming to Leeds. That sounds bad. I appreciate that sounds bad, but if you have a look at all of the numbers around the guy, he got 20 goals for Atletico Madrid last season in La Liga. He's a fucking good player. So I think for us to try to make that signing would be madness. Well, it's not madness to try it, it's madness to assume that it's doable. I think is the way that I'll put that. Like, non-penalty goals per 90. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Edu. Like, non-penalty goals per 90 is in the top 1% of all forwards. Shots per 90, top 3%. Non-penalty XG plus assisted goals is in the top 2%, and he gets a goal or assist expected every 90 minutes. Like, it's madness. And I think we ask the question, but the question is answered with no. Because Champions League is presumably where he's going to land, I think. There are any stats that back Leeds' medical teams one of the best in the Prem? My theory is yes, hence the gamble on Crocs and freebies. I don't know, to be honest. It's quite hard to do numbers for medical staff because, like, we've only been in the Premier League for, like, a game now. So I think to compare how we're doing with this current squad compared to other Premier League squads is difficult, and it's quite hard to do anyway because you've got very unique situations from player to player. Like, some squads will naturally be a little bit more injury prone. Some squads are a bit bigger, therefore they're going to have more injuries. It's tough to do. I think we have crook players because if they weren't, they'd be very expensive. Yes. As a rule of thumb, we're looking at players that are good, that have a reason for being cheaper than normal, which is sensible. It means we're not paying out the nose for players that are decent quality and always fit, and it means that we can get more players in. Like, our 9th signing is going to be Noah Okafor, and that's a lot of signings to have done. Also, I like that my microphone, if I lean wrong, just pops in and out of existence. I'll try and get it so it doesn't do that, and it's just sort of there. Do you think we're bringing a big name 9? Because I can see he's using Okafor on the right as he can play across the front 3. I don't know if we get a big name 9. I know that there has been some chat from Daniel Farker being like, maybe we get another one. I'm not sure. Because looking at it, we've got 4. And that's including Harry Gray. But last season we had 4 including Harry Gray. And Harry only got, like, the occasional charity minutes against Stoke. And even then, your third choice being Pat Bamford. How many minutes did Bamford get last season? Bamford got 252 minutes last season. And Mateo Joseph got... And I'm only going to count minutes towards the end of the season, Mateo Joseph, because there was the period where he was starting for us, but let's be honest, that's realistically not the case. So, from February onwards, he got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 appearances, none of which were more than 33 minutes. So I very, very, very genuinely don't see us getting a fourth senior striker, because we don't need one. They wouldn't get minutes, and all you would do is mess with the squad harmony, which is pretty good at the minute. I like the way that everything feels good. I'd like a 9 but who has 4 strikers when you play up top. Yeah, that's... Yeah, we got 3 senior ones already. There's Piru, who... And this is a note that I'm going to deal with in your next comment. But we've got Piru, who is a very, very good forward. We've got Mecha, who we've proven is a pretty damn physical profile that caused a lot of problems to Everton's back line. We've got Calvert-Lewin, who has an incredible work rate when he's fit. So I think we're good. I think Farke does see Piru as a striker, but he sees him as a sort of false 90 striker that's happy to drop in, do the deep lying stuff, and do a lot of the physical work. I do think he sees him as a striker, just a different profile of striker. Haven't heard any more about Demirovic. I'm assuming that's no longer needed. I don't think it's needed, but I think it's a... If we do decide that we want another forward, it might be Demirovic. I'm not desperate to do Demirovic, to be completely honest with you. I don't think it's a necessary move. What I think is a necessary move, however, is you popping a like on the stream and subscribing. Thank you very much. And also being a channel member if you fancy. That'd be nice. I think Piru's better in the 10. I think the current system kind of works, because it's a 4-3-3 with 3 central midfielders and technically a striker. But if you got Piru dropping in, he does the 10 stuff and brings others into the game. That's what we saw quite a lot in the game against Everton, which I liked. I sent Harry Gray out on loan. He needs the first team game time. He won't get the first team game time at Leeds, but also he won't go on loan. And there is a very good reason for that. And I'm just going to bring up transfer market. Harry Gray. So, the issue with Harry Gray is he is currently 16 years old. Now, the youngest age at which a footballer can go out on loan is 17. Because you need a professional contract in order to go out on loan anywhere. That happens when Harry Gray is on the 8th of October. I phrased that really badly, but on the 8th of October, to phrase it a little bit better, stop doing that. Harry Gray turns 17. Which means that at that point he's able to sign a professional contract, and at that point he's able to go out on loan from winter onwards, but I feel like that isn't necessarily going to happen. Is that an airplane sound effect? It is, yeah, it's going on in the background. I sent Harry Gray out on loan, so I've read that one. Likes and subscribe, thanks for the content. No problem at all. Maybe we need 4 up top so if I can use a secret formation. We're losing, let's play 8 forwards. I don't know if we'd need to. Because what you do is you keep your 2 wingers on, take off Tanaka and Stack for DCL and Mecha. Fullbacks are effectively forwards anyway, and then you've got Ampadu, Rodon, and your other centre-back with that Stroke or Beetle as your back 3. So you're playing a 3-7, which is a good place to be. Works out. But thank you for liking and subscribing, James France. Right, I am very quickly going to go to the toilet, because I have needed so for quite some time. But you guys please stick around, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Watch the plane, make sure that we don't have any problems. And if we have any problems, scream in the chat. I'll keep an eye on the chat whilst I'm on the loo. In a bit. Hello, friends. How are we all doing? How's the plane? We're still going good? Have I missed anything? Are we good? Right, where are we? Hang on. You see, the issue is with these really long streams is that sometimes you just need to go to the loo. And it means that people theorise on why you've gone to the loo. So here we are. Right, where was I up to when doing a little bit of read of the chat last time? I don't know. Parts in the toilet, hopefully nothing catastrophic happens. Nothing catastrophic has happened. We're still in the air, we're good. We are now significantly more delayed than we were earlier. We have been pushed back to 9:37 AM. And we are currently over, let's have a look, Northampton. Northampton is down and to your left if you keep a little bit of an eye out. That's the point. Why, when planes a couple of pounds is big, that's a big assumption. Where is it, by the way, wondering how long the stream goes for? We've got about 37 to 40 minutes left of the flight, which ain't too bad. It's a decent chunk of time. Chunk of time. A lot of private planes coming in and out of Leeds today. There always tends to be. It's often the case. Oh, we've gone lumpy. Right, for those bits, I'm gonna sort of cut to here so it doesn't lumpy all over. Never mind, it lumpies anyway. Right, okay. We'll go back in. When can we stop? I need to talk. We can stop in 36 minutes. Or you could just take your phone out the window. I do it. Plane. I like it. Because an early approach jet's 10 minutes delayed, so Noah's plane's been pushed back. Oh. Yeah, but if we get there first, like, come on. If you miss your spot in the queue, then you've missed your spot in the queue. That's not our problem. That's your problem. Yeah, I hope you have a good day, Scally. Do you think we change formation for the Arsenal game? Got a feeling you may start DCL. I don't think we need to change formation if we start DCL. I think we can keep the formation the same. How much the private planes cost to hire? I think I checked last time, it was something like 25 grand or something like that. It ain't cheap, but it makes sure that you get your player in a timely manner and you get them in comfort. So, you know what? If it works, it works. And clearly it does. So it's fine. Passing Leicester soon, any hitchhikers? Imagine. Imagine we're just like, sorry, hold. Can we just stop at East Midlands? Yeah, so there's someone that could do with a lift. That'd be a fun one. We played better in the 4-2-3-1, but Daniel knows we need to adapt to survive. I think that was one of our better performances against Everton. I think it was a very, very strong performance, at least in the first half. Second half, they adapted to us a little bit, but I think we were still better than them. And it's a good sign to be better than a Premier League side, like relatively effortlessly. Work in private aviation, it's about 10 grand an hour. If you work in private aviation, can you give us a lift somewhere? Thank you. Mr. Drinks Trolley. Ah, no, that's no fun. We got no drinks going round. Sorry. Be interested when DCL's fit if we drop a striker from the bench. That's the question, isn't it? Because the bench is really strong at the minute. So you're going to have to start leaving people out. But they're people that you don't necessarily want to leave out. Which sucks, but it's good to have... Good to have an opportunity. Unfortunately, I just left the rich bugger's luggage. Damn! What a shame. Where were we? £37 EasyJet. The balance could have been a donation to cancer charity from 49ers. See, it could, but that's not how rich people work. Why do I keep getting hiccups? Like, it'd be nice if that was the way that things worked, but it isn't. You want to sort of impress your new signings, and this is realistically like the only way to do it. Especially from like a transit perspective. Private jet that's coming in earlier is coming from France. It's the same plane that's been used to bring players in before. Where in France? Because it could just be like a general hire private plane. You never know. Currently flying over Leicester on our left. Oh, I'm assuming the Red Bull on the plane is free. It'd be weird if it wasn't, to be honest with you. Yeah, we're sponsored by Red Bull, but all the Red Bulls on the plane you're not allowed. We need to stop the wingers with Arsenal, as I thought Man United did well on Sunday against Saka and Martinelli. Dovi. Let's have a look. I think we do need to stop the wingers, and we did a pretty good job of that ourselves. We sort of pushed them through the middle. But it's sort of a case of doing so consistently when it comes to Arsenal, because Arsenal are a little bit more of a battle. Yeah, the only club realistically close enough to Dovi is Le Havre, but I don't think realistically we're going to be signing any of their players, because I don't think they've got any players realistically of the standard that we're looking at the moment. So if I have a quick look, Le Havre. Who's in their side? Yeah, none of those players are ones that I've seen us linked with, which is fine. Oh.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday, and right now you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Sorry, Brian Dave Jones, I think we went with. And thank you, Liam Moore, for the £4.99 super chat. It's massively appreciated. And it will go towards the house DIY fund. Covering things like, I don't know, realistically it's probably like, it's going towards calzone when I'm watching Leeds Arsenal. I'm working Leeds Arsenal as well, looking forward to that. It's the first time that Leeds will be playing on a broadcast on DAZN that I've managed to get in and like work, which is wonderful. Looking forward to it. I think we lose 2-0 against Arsenal. I think we probably lose against Arsenal. I'm not going to start guessing scorelines because that's depressing. Nottingham's on our right, by the way. But yeah, I don't see us winning. But that's fine. That's sort of normal. I think we'll be unchanged against Arsenal. The only player who's not up to speed is DJ, but it usually takes him a few games, so I think every player deserves to keep his place. Yeah, there's no one that I would drop from that match, and I think it would be very harsh if you were to like look at that game and go, yeah, but who do we need rid of? Because that feels like it'd be a little bit too quick of a jump to the worst possible conclusions about your own players. Also, a jump to positive conclusions is the fact that we're on 161 likes at the moment, and I think we can hit 250. No, not 250. We can hit 250 concurrent viewers. In terms of likes, we can hit 200 relatively easily if you guys pop a like on it. It'd be lovely. Joe, you're aware of the dodgy plane used in the early 2000s European excursions once nearly crashed? I am not, to be honest. That's one that I've not heard. But I'm willing to do a little bit of research into it. That'd be nice. I love that every once in a while when I'm like, you guys can pop a like on the stream, there's always one person that's like, you know what, I'll unlike the stream now. It is that. Why? What? I asked you to click a button. It's fine. We need DJ's paid for those counter-attacks. We will. It's going to be... I think it's going to be the sort of game where Dan James is going to thrive. Because Calafiori likes getting forwards. And whilst defensively in the match against Everton, we sort of kept the wingers in sort of reserved positions. So it's like, let's not get outnumbered in the wide areas. I think Dan James has enough pace to sort of turn that into goodness. As we're flying over Nottingham, Brian Clough lasted 44 days at Leeds, which other manager only lasted 44 days? Oh, God. Liz Truss. I don't know. According to Kevin Abbott, Jock Stein. We'll go with that. It's not the worst of picks. Oh. Got some itchy eyeballs. Estimated time of arrival now, by the way, has shifted back up again to 9:26. So we've got 17 minutes left of flight. We're at talks with the Nantes forward, which could suggest the France flight. Isn't Nantes... Nantes is nowhere near there. I think it'll be Nantes. If it was a flight from Nantes, it would be a far closer end of the sentence. Airport, that one. Yeah, I think we can beat Arsenal. I think it's not going to be easy to beat Arsenal, but I think we can. There's nothing stopping us. It's just doing so is not going to be particularly easy. But that's fine. That's normal. Wife was homesick. That's fair enough. That's understandable. As long as it's for reasons of not needing to be sacked, then all is pretty good, to be honest with you. I'm not going to be too mad at it. Right, we are currently 16 minutes away. We're flying over Sheffield on our right-hand side. You can see this urban sprawl. Well, you can't see the urban sprawl, but I can see the urban sprawl. That Jet 2 plane flying to Ecuador. Very good. There's a Jet 2 plane flying to Ecuador? It's quite far for Jet 2, isn't it? Although you can have £200 off for a family of 4 to Ecuador. So I'm not going to turn that down. As always, by the way, if anybody is underneath the flight path at any point, have a look out your window, if you can. Let's just snap a cheeky little picture of the Platoon Aviation private jet. Because if we do, then it'd be a nice little treat. And ping it over in my direction in a tweet. My Twitter is... That's the point. Just going to quickly do it. And then... Where's the thing? Where's the thing? Right, I'm going to do it over here, actually. Is that going to work? I love that, like, that's a question that I have to ask from time to time. It's like, does this make any actual sense? Probably. Okay, cool. We'll go for it. Copy and paste. And do that. And then, bosh. This. Put that there. No, there. There we go. Download. Just that one. And transparent background. Cool. Right, this is going to take more time than I expected this to take to sort out, but I've committed now. So if I add a new source, that wasn't meant to happen. There we go. Cool. Alright. Add a new source. It would be an image. Add source. Add a new source. Call it Twitter. He's definitely on the plane. I believe so. Everything that I've heard says that he is. There we go. Cool. So if anyone is under flight path or anything like that, there's me Twitter. Pop it in my direction. I'll give it a cheeky little retweet. That took a moment to do. You know, creativity. I know of creativity. Will we get Solomon in the end? I believe he was the missing element in that Everton game. I don't know if he was. I think Okafor is also someone that can potentially fix that issue. We're heading a little bit west, by the way. So we're coming over the west side of Leeds by the looks of it. Currently over Well, we're over the Peak District. Looks like that in front of us is Huddersfield. I'm only 2 miles from Thorpe Arch, can't be asked going down there, but years ago I walked my dog down the disused railways, heard the boys trading it. That's nice. I'm in aeroplane mode, sorry, we'll do after. Ah, clever, I like it. It's good. Does it not make sense to have some depth? It does, but we'll have depth. Like, this adds to the depth. If we sort out Okafor, then we're at like 6 wingers or something. It's not a bad place to be. Is it 6? No, it's 5 if we do Okafor. But then again, if you're considering Aronson as a winger, because he sort of is right now, then it's 6. That's a lot of wingers. So I don't think we'd need any more than that. What's his playstyle like? He is a fairly direct dribbler, which is not a bad thing for us to have at the moment. Currently we are going towards the right, by the way, which is interesting, because it looks like we're going to be heading directly over the city of Leeds. And now we're estimated to get in at 9:25 AM. But yeah, he's a fairly direct kind of guy. That effectively means that we're going to be in a pretty good spot when it comes to taking on players individually, because that's not something that Willy Gnonto is typically the most comfortable with, and this gives us something a little bit new, which I'm not going to be too mad at. That's going to be quite good. Morning, he on his way to Leeds. He is indeed. He is currently about 11 minutes out from Leeds Bradford. How many have a creative brain? How many see him up again? Like very few. Can I believe Solomon did that? You know, like El Machico. I get that, but I think we do also have that from the likes of Ramazani. I think Harrison can do that and has done that in the past. I think we're in a position where we're doing pretty well with the options that we've got, and I think to assume that like we've not got creativity is misreading it, because even without Solomon we still scored a hell of a lot last season. Is he a Gnonto replacement? I don't know about replacement. I think he's an alternative. Replacement implies that Gnonto just doesn't do the job anymore, but alternative I think is a more accurate way of looking at it. Arison's a hybrid and, dare I say, more important than others realise. Yeah, I think I agree, because I've always been kind of pro Gnonto. I think Gnonto gets... not Gnonto. Aronson gets a bad rap, because he's... agreed, not physically the strongest, but he's still pretty useful. Noah Okafor on his way to England as he signs a contract later. Well, 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 well. Would you have a look at this? Hold on, let's get it down to the right sort of size. Sod it, I'll put it up there. Ah! There we go. That's what the plane looks like. So he is on the plane. I like the idea that Fabrizio Romano's just watching the stream and he's like, oh! What's this? A plane? Yes, Fabrizio, it's a plane. And we've been watching it from the start. I can't find a link to the stream, because my fun idea was I'm going to retweet it and then just link the stream, because I want to, and no one's going to stop me. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. That's what you're going to do about it. Right, nothing. Oh, it's me. Shut up, me. Shut up, me. Shut your stupid face. There we go. Right, copy that. Quote tweet that and go. You can track the plane. It's final approach here! Exclamation mark. Post. Cool. Bosh. I don't know whether or not that will... Hold on. I don't know whether people will actually click that, but we'll see. It definitely feels like I've been talking for like an hour and 40 minutes already. Because my throat kills. I took the photo, he didn't even acknowledge me. I know, it's devastating. Aronson was everywhere on Monday. He was, and in a good way, not a bad way, which is nice. We've turned left around Bradford, which is a weird move. I wasn't quite expecting us to do that. We've done a circle. But that's okay. Let's get this deal done today for the medical. Also, how many signings do you think we get before deadline day? I think we do this one. I think we do the fullback, and I think we've got one more surprise signing in us, which gets us to 11 for the window, I think. And it's a pretty damn good 11. Well, I remember when we had 6 in, and there were still people that were like, we're not going to do any more signings. It's like, shut up. We will. We're going to get plenty of business done, as always. And it's going to be good. It's going to be a good time. Have to go, have a great day. Have a great day, Andrew Thorpe. Specifically, Andrew. Like, why did I do the Thorpe? I don't know. But have a good day. Currently, we are circling roughly over Halifax. So again, if anyone's under the flight path, just if you can, take a picture. Take a picture, show off. That'd be good. I'm glad. I quite like doing these streams. They're nice and chill. They're just sort of like, they're just good vibes. Probably a few years too early, but I rate him to improve like Don James has. Is this on Ramazani? No? Solomon? I don't know. But, I don't know. Did JT and Ollie get the same info as the rest because they usually come out with different name targets? Well, I mean, you say that. There's no one, like, getting info. It's not a case of, like, we've got links at the club and we use those. It's more, what sources do you believe in, which sources do you not believe? And in terms of, like, if they're believing different sources, then go for it. Like, that's fine. You've got your take on who's reliable. I've got my take on who's reliable. And at the end of the day, all sorts of news will come out in all sorts of directions. I'm going to miss these streams. I like them. Is it like the chill-natured vibe of the stream? Or is it the fact that it's sort of like specifically a flighty thing? Because in terms of like the chill streams, we will be doing more of them like, as the season goes. Because, where did the brain go? I don't know. Because like, once Football Manager 26 comes out, I'll be doing a series on that, I believe. And various other stuff. Like, I quite like doing the chill things. Also, we're on 191 likes at the moment, so if you haven't gotten around to that yet, please do so, it'd be lovely. Stop wiggling the stick, I'm getting dizzy. No, I wiggle my stick and it makes all of the bitches dizzy. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not continuing that thought, because no, that's not me. Whatever. I mean, Otley, 2 minutes from Leeds Bradford, tempted to call up. You should. Or at least you should take a picture of the sky with a plane in it. What flight tracker are you on? I am on Flight Radar 24, because last year I accidentally got a year's worth of premium when I was doing one of these streams, and I was like, I can't go to any other flight tracker now because I'm stuck. But it's more reading off the internet like everyone can, sort of, because there's also cases in which you will know someone who has something to do with the situation, and that'll give you a little bit more detail on everything. So it's not like being an ITK or anything, but it's like I know someone who has a better idea of the situation than I do, so I'll just ping them a message, see what's going on, and then work from that point. But currently over Batley, by the way. No, more specifically Tingley. And I'll keep us updated and let us know. So we're currently going east in the direction of Rothwell. In fact, I'm going to go to the external camera for now. There we go. So we can have a little bit more of a look around and I can show you where we are. There we go. There's the junction between the M62 and the M1 in the direction of Rothwell, which is over here somewhere. The reason I mention it is because nothing comes to fruition, but I like JT and all these pieces. It's more of a case of like the sources that they trust in, I suppose. Fark will be looking for good fits for the team rather than a prima donna, which is a good spot to be in. Like making sure that the players that you sign fit the vibe, which I'm a fan of. It's always a good time. Make sure that things sort of go well. Right, Rothwell is now on the right. Well, no, Rothwell is currently at Rangers. But LS, which LS is it? I don't know. Joe Rothwell is on the right. Sod it. With Leeds directly in front of us. Again, anyone under the flight path. It'd be good to just like get a cheeky little picture. If we have a look down here, it's somewhere down there. There we go. It's the John Charles Centre for Sport, I think. Which is nice. I've been there. I've played football there. No, wait. That's the John Charles Centre for Sport. What's that I see? Is it a charity match? Lovely. Currently going over Honslet. With Morley over here. Elland Road down there. I like that he's going to be flying over and just like, oh, what's the ground look like? That's quite nice, isn't it? I'm going to be playing there. You must know the whole of Leeds with all these fly-alongs. I know bits of Leeds anyway, but currently train station. The Dalek is nearby somewhere. Not calling it Bridgewater Place. That name sounds silly to me. With Headingley in front of us. It's quite nice to be just sort of like vibing our way in. Romano just posted this plane pic. I know, I retweeted it. And did a cheeky little, like, oh, I'm doing a thing on this as well. Fabrizio, you're not the only one. I'm going to copy and paste this across, actually, because I think it would be beneficial to have somewhere. There we go. Just in case anyone manages to snap a picture of the plane and is like, I want to show it off. But we're currently coming in to the airport, as you can see directly in front of us. Flying over something. I never know what that is. Beckett Park, I believe. With Headingley Stadium now behind us? Behind us, yes. And the airport directly in front. We're preparing for a landing. It could be a slightly lumpy landing. By the way, FM26 is confirmed. I've seen Noah fly over Headingley. Good. Hope you got a picture. Yes, FM26 is confirmed. It had a trailer come out last week. It wasn't like a detailed trailer. It was more like a sort of teaser announcement thing. But if it comes out like permanently, that'd be nice. I'd like it. Touch and go and coming. Ah, we'll land fine. You know, we'll land so confidently, right? I'm so confident in the ability to land this plane that I'm going to do it whilst I'm not even looking out the cockpit. That's how good we're feeling. I don't even need to turn around and look. I'm that confident in my ability to land a plane that we're just going to keep looking in this forward direction. It's going to be nice. Told Queen lives 2 minutes from Leeds Airport. Could have vlogged the live landing. Damn. Just gone over. Ooh. It's exciting, isn't it? It's like, oh, there's a footballer on here. Imagine it crashes. It looks like it just did. I've got to be honest. But it won't. It'll be fine. It's just, bumpy landing. There we go. All that kind of stuff. And now we just sort of like vibe our way along the runway. It'd be quite nice. Thankfully, Leeds Bradford, not like the one in Sweden, where it was just a cliff. No landing gear, bald. No, it's just the bottom of the plane's made of tungsten. So it makes it a smooth landing no matter what. It's just a nice little dense metal. It means you're not going to have any problems. It's a good spot to be in, I think. But with all of that in mind, Noah Okafor is in Leeds. Noah Okafor will now go to Thorpe Arch. He will go to say hello, have a medical, do his checks, and presumably sign quite a lot of paperwork. Maybe announced tonight, he might be announced tomorrow, it's hard to say. But he's currently at Leeds Bradford, which is a good place to be. When do you think the signing will be out? I think it will be I want to say tomorrow job. I'd quite like it to be tonight. I don't think that will necessarily be the case. Laura's crashed with the pilot looking the wrong way. Look, it's not crashed yet, so we're good. think it'll probably be tomorrow morning. I don't think it'll be the morning. We tend to wait for evenings. Just because, like, announcing a signing in the evening tends to be a little bit better for, like, impressions and stuff like that. Why do you sign players in 2 days? Because you're not necessarily going to get the medical 100% done today, and you're not necessarily getting all the paperwork done today. So it's a tomorrow job just in case. But with all of that in mind, I am, in a minute, going to bring the stream to a close. I'm going to see if there's anyone to redirect over to first. No, not at the moment. That's fine. No one's live at the moment. When's the press conference? It will be... It's Wednesday today, right? It'll be Thursday. Early afternoon, is my guess. I think he could play versus Arsenal. He could, I think. But I don't know. Yeah, but you hear everything on Facebook. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream there. Because I've been going for an hour and 52 minutes and my throat hurts. And I've got various bits and bobs to do around the house. A lot of DIY, putting down a floor, you know. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. Gonna leave you to it. And yeah, I will see you all later. Toodaloo. And thank you for flying Air Blackburn. And yes, ignore them. Anyway.